Okay, good evening. Welcome to my welcome session. I'm going to try to keep this short since there's nobody here. There's currently only 5 students in my section. That might grow as the semester goes on. So there's no surprise that there's not anybody here. That's okay. We are going to go over the course. I'll introduce myself briefly. We'll go over some new policies. And I hope you stick with me. This is my name here. I am Mrs. Mullet, Tara Mullet. A couple things to make sure that you notice about my name. It has 2 L's and 2 T's. And I point that out because it's very important when you're writing my email address to make sure you spell my name correctly. Otherwise, it won't come to me. I've had students complain on like surveys and things that I never got back to them. I actually reply to emails very quickly, within 24 hours, usually less, sometimes even just minutes if I have my phone on me and it's a quick question. So if you're not hearing back from me, you need to go back and check the spelling and make sure it's M-U-L-L-E-T-T, just to make sure that it actually comes to me. I am in my classroom right now. I do teach in a middle school. And I don't like the overhead lights, which is just kind of dark. So that's why I also put a picture up there. Okay, so again, Mrs. Mullet, this is American Literature, Fall 2018. Go follow me. Okay, there's a little bit about myself. Most of what you need to know is, yay, that's me down there. My hair is shorter now. It's a little bit past my jaw, but it's the same color. So that's pretty much what I look like with shorter hair. On the right is my son, Cademan. He's very proud of his new haircut there. I gave him that haircut. Oh, good. Yay. Over there on the left is my son, Simeon. He's 3. And in the middle is my daughter, Evelyn. And she just turned 1 a couple days ago. She just started walking, and we got her first pair of Converse for her birthday. So, as I said, I do teach in a middle school. I teach at Gainesville Middle School. I teach 6th grade ELA. This is my first year here. It's been quite an adventure, and I've enjoyed it so much so far. Very, very big school. I have taught for George Virtual School now since January of 2015, and several summers in there, 3 different summers. So I'm not sure how many semesters I'm up to. Check my bio. I update that every semester. It's probably like 10 or 11 semesters now. Okay, again, this is my contact information, M-U-L-L-E-T-T. Make sure that's the same way in the email. This is my number. This is a Google Voice number. It comes directly cell phone, but it is not my actual number, and I do that just for safety. So, you know, I don't have to give my real personal number out to students, and I use this also here at school. I'm available Monday through Friday, 4 to 8 for phone calls. However, I don't usually leave school recently until about 5 or 6, because that's when I try to get everything done before I go home.
Could someone with the softball team please come to the front office? Softball team, please. Someone please come to the front office.
Sorry about that. As I said, I'm at school, and they have sports teams still going on in the building. So that was just one of the assistant principals. Okay, as I said, Monday through Friday, 4 through 8 is when I'm going to be most available to actually meet and talk with, and that's when I'm going to have my office hours. Is usually Tuesdays at 5. However, I usually don't leave school until like 5 or 6. Which means that you need to take into consideration that I have absolutely no cell phone signal in my classroom. I have to walk out to the front of the building, either the cafeteria or the library, actually to get any signal. Therefore, the best way to get a hold of me during the day and then up until like 6 o'clock is going to be via text or email, because I do get texts over Wi-Fi. That's one of the reasons why I have a Google Voice number. That number that I have is because it is a Wi-Fi based number. Therefore, text will come in over that number. For some stupid reason that I haven't figured out yet, my phone won't let calls come in over Wi-Fi. But it has something to do with the fact that I use AT&T or whatever. I don't know. But texts and emails will come through over Wi-Fi. So if you need to get a hold of me during the day, text or email is the best way to do it. You can absolutely call and leave a message. Just keep in mind that I may not get it right away. Okay, in a little bit, we're going to take a tour through your class, and I'll take the opportunity on screen share to show you one of your schedules. Show you how that schedule works. I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, I'll go through the course in a little bit. All right, let's get straight into the important information. So we recommend you print off your course schedule and follow it each day. I find students that work every single day and don't put work off until the due date are the most successful students. So I would recommend printing it out and like crossing it out as you go along, remembering to turn the page. Some days may start with a little bit on one page and the day continues on the next day. On the next page. So it's very important for you to turn the page because you are still responsible for that work even if you pulled a silly and didn't turn the page. I have a student do that every year. Every single semester I have at least one student forget to turn the page and miss assignments. So make sure you turn the page. Cross-work out as you go along just so you know what you've done and what you need to do. Everything that you need to do in the course, even just reading or taking a little mini quiz, anything like that is going to be on that schedule. So it makes it really easy for you to know exactly what you need to do each day in order to stay on top of your learning and your work. If you have a question about an assignment, please ask. Don't make assumptions. I've had students go in a completely wrong direction on an assignment, and because we're not face-to-face, I didn't catch it until they turned it in and it was wrong. Every once in a while, I will allow students to redo an assignment, but it's not every day and it's not every wrong assignment. It's only if I can tell absolutely for certain that they misunderstood how to do something, and then I will let them do it again. And that's, again, it's pretty rare. I allow maybe each student to do it maybe once, maybe twice per semester, and sometimes not even that. So if you can anticipate any kind of conflict with your schedule, you need to prepare for that ahead of time. You are allowed to work ahead as far as you want, but you cannot catch up once you get in behind. So you can always work ahead if you see a problem with any due dates. Vacation is not an excuse for late work. No exceptions will be granted for late work. In the past, I've had students to say that their cruise was a good excuse to have late work, and it is not. Yeah. If you anticipate needing to leave the country or you need to leave the state or go somewhere else for a funeral or something awful like that, let me know ahead of time. It is much easier for us to get ahead of a problem instead of fix it after the fact. I've had students that have their extension requests denied because they didn't even let us know until well after they got back from their trip that they had gone to a funeral. We do grant extensions for things like illness or doctor visits or funerals or things like that, but we do need to know about it as much as possible ahead of time, if not as early as possible, so we can actually get things handled. Every single Wednesday is your due date. Make sure, even if you are an old student, make sure you're paying attention to this information because we have changed our late work policy. So everybody needs to pay attention to this. All student work is due Wednesdays at midnight. Not this Wednesday, not tomorrow for the 16-week schedule. For the 14-week schedule and the 12-week schedule, always, the first Wednesday is not a due date. It's always the second Wednesday. So it's a week and a half's worth of work for that first one, which is why it's important to keep up on a daily basis because it ends up being a week's worth of work. Check course schedules for course assignments and specific due dates. Work turned in after the deadline on the course schedule will be accepted within 2 school days with a late penalty assessed. It used to be 3. Now it's 2. It has changed. And this is so that students don't end up spending too much time catching up and instead just moving forward. Do what you can to catch up for those 2 days and then move forward. Get on with it. Move on with your life. A 20% late penalty is deducted for assignments submitted on Thursday or Friday following the Wednesday assignment due date. After the end of Friday at midnight, assignments will no longer be accepted for graded credit unless a formal extension is requested and approved in accordance with the GAB's make-up work policy. So if you miss your Wednesday due date for one or all your assignments, you have until Friday at midnight to turn it in for 20% off, meaning that if you turn in an assignment, you can only get a maximum of 80% on that assignment. So if you do it perfectly, you can get an 80, but your chances are higher of getting it in the 70 range. Assignments due on the last day of the semester, Friday, November 30th, may be submitted for late credit through the end of the Tuesday, December 4th. All that is denoted on the schedule, and it's actually even color-coded. At the end of the semester, all classwork must be submitted prior to the time period the final exam is available. Things to remember: technical difficulties are not an excuse for assignments to be late. Students must have computer access to complete GAB's work. It is the student's responsibility to secure backup computer options when technical difficulties arise. Many public libraries offer computers with internet access. GABS courses can also be accessed on a variety of mobile devices. Contact me immediately if you're experiencing technical issues. We may be able to help, and switching your schedule may also help too if you're having troubles. So I have had students that tried to tell me after the final exam that they were having technical issues through the whole semester and needed to have, their grade boosted. It didn't work. She failed. Okay? So you need to keep in touch with us. Communication is extremely important. I will also say that it's very difficult to complete this course on a mobile device. For your daily reading and maybe quizzes or discussion posts or things like that, it's fine. You'll have no trouble. But it's very difficult to write assignments, especially essays, on a mobile device, even an iPad. So keep that in mind. You will want to have some sort of keyboard in order to write your essays. Your Office 365, all students are provided with an Office 365 email address as well as other apps that come along with that Office 365. You are supposed to use that email address. You are supposed to check it daily, and that is the email address you should use for communication. If I send you something, it goes to that email address. If you send me something from your personal account, I may reply, but you really do need to be using your GABS email address. So any kind of system emails or emails from me are going to go to that GABS email address, so it's very important that you check it every day. Your email address, your Brightspace, all of your different accounts that you've been given through us, the username and password sync, so it's going to be the same all the way across. So if you change it in one place, you change it in Brightspace, it's also going to change for your emails. So just be aware of that. The format for everybody's username and password is exactly the same. So you have your username and password for Brightspace, and it's going to be the same across the board. This also provides you with opportunities to use things like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneNote, Publisher, and Access, blah, 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 lots of information, terabyte. So for those of you that maybe start your work at home and then finish it the next day at school, or for those of you that have a Mac, using your Office 365 account is an excellent way around. So you are able to start your work in one place and finish your work on another place because it's not on the computer, it's on the internet, which makes it a lot easier for you to carry work from home to school if you're working at school. So you don't have to use a flash drive or anything like that, it's right there. So I highly recommend that students use that. Additionally, if you have a Mac, keep in mind if you have a Mac that a lot of the actual Mac types of documents and files are not accepted by our course. And it's not even us saying, hey, no, you can't turn in a document that's created in Pages. It's our technology. Our technology just simply cannot read most of the type of document files and that are created in Mac. Pages is not acceptable. There's other types that only Mac has. So make sure when you turn in an assignment that it's in a common format. It needs to be in docx, doc, PDF, those kinds of things. MP3 if you're doing a visual, a sound file, MP4 if it's a video file. Those kind of files will upload best. So we definitely make sure that you're doing conversions in order to get your things to actually load. So you can create something in Pages, sure, but make sure that you upload it as a PDF. Otherwise, I won't be able to read it. I'll give you a 0, and then you have to make sure that you go back in and change it, or else I can't. If I can't read your assignment, I can't give you credit. So that's what this is about, DocX, XLSX, I believe that's spreadsheet, PPTX or PDFs. You're turning a PowerPoint. Lots of students do PowerPoints for lots of different assignments. PPTX is fine. PPT works as well. You can also turn in your presentations, most even PowerPoints, as a PDF, and that it works just fine. Each document should include your name and the name of the assignment. Academic honesty, early on in the semester, I cover this. I go over plagiarism, I go over Turnitin, I go over those kinds of things just to make sure that everybody's on the same page with what we expect as well as what is honest and dishonest. Do not copy and paste information from the internet and submit as an assignment to be graded without reference. Do not submit an assignment that has been previously submitted in another class. Plagiarized work will result in consequences as described in the student handbook. Your work should be yours alone without help from others unless your teacher gives permission. You cannot turn an assignment in that you turned in a different class, a different semester, or a different school. Those are all against academic policy, academic honesty policy. If you have any questions about Brightspace, you can go to the help box. Once you get there, you can also go to the student handbook if you have a question about policy. A link to the student handbook can be found in the student resources drop-down menu on the GABS homepage. Mozilla Firefox is our preferred browser. You can download it at this website, mozilla.com. I will also say that Chrome works very well. I use Chrome pretty much exclusively, and I've had only a few issues. Every once in a very, very long time will I come up with an issue on Chrome, and just by switching to Mozilla real quick will I get it solved. So that being said, don't try to use Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera, any of those other random, even my Internet Explorer Edge, whatever. Don't try to use any of those random browsers because they very frequently work. I've had students contact me saying that they weren't able to access a video or a virtual quiz or something like that. And it turned out that the only problem was that they were using, excuse me, is that they were using Internet Explorer, so it didn't work properly. As soon as they switched to Firefox, boom, there it was. Use your course email for correspondence with me. You may insert other preferred forms of communication. Me, okay. My favorite form of communication is text messaging. For a couple different reasons. I personally am not a fan of phone calls. I just don't like making phone calls. I'm just an introvert. I don't like phone calls. So that means also it has to do with my lack of signal during the school day. So texts come right straight to me and I don't have to try to dig into my email app. The other thing is with a text message, I can also document communication a lot easier than I can with a phone call. Check your email daily. NetResponse will send grade notification emails to parents each Wednesday, especially after a progress report. I will be in this room every single Tuesday at 5 p.m. If I'm not here, I probably forgot. Send me a text message. It happens. It happens a lot. I have all of my presentations prepared pretty much from the past, and I give a class presentation about some sort of policy or some sort of skill every other week, and then on the other week. So, you know, like this week, I'm doing a welcome class. Next week will be a welcome class, so on and so forth. On every other week, I give a class, and on the other weeks, I do office hours, where I'm just here, and you can come and ask questions if you have any questions about anything or you need help with something. In order to participate, it's best for you to have speakers and microphone. A lot of computers, like mine, has a built-in microphone, and that's completely acceptable. It seems to actually work best, better than a headset. If I'm home and I have my kids making a lot of noise, I'll use a headset, but if I'm here at school, then I don't use a headset. Your grade is based on daily classwork, tests, discussions, and the final exam. So you have it split into 3. Discussions is the least, it's worth 10%. Daily classwork is in the next, and test is in the little highest. And then the final exam is worth 20%. This course is an AB, American Literature is an AB course, and it is also a milestone course, which means those of you that are in public school will need to take the EOCT with your school. You will need to arrange that with your school. We do not arrange that test. But you don't have to worry about that until the end of the school year. You need to arrange that with your counselor or your graduation coach or whatever at school. Probably your counselor is usually the one that does that. All other private or homeschool students will take the final exam. Assignments will be graded within 3 school days of being submitted, Monday through Friday. Zeros will be entered for incomplete work following each assignment due date. Look at all feedback on quizzes, discussions, and Dropbox items. Please do not hesitate to ask if you have a question about grades. So that means if you turn in an assignment, give me about 3 days to have it graded. I have 3 kids and 2 jobs, so just keep that in mind. I do need that full 3 days. I do not often grade over the weekend, but I might. Notice it says Monday through Friday, so if you turn in an assignment on Thursday, you will not get a grade on Sunday. You might get a grade Monday or Tuesday. Every Thursday, I go in and enter zeros for assignments that were not completed, that needed to be completed. There is currently a news announcement posted that gives you instructions on how to check feedback on quizzes, discussions, and Dropbox items. Sometimes I might give you advice on how to do better in the future, especially on a rough draft. Sometimes I may ask you to make a change if you didn't understand the assignment properly, and sometimes I might just give you a, hey, you did an awesome job, thumbs up. If you have a question about a grade, feel free to ask. If you don't understand why something was graded a certain way, or if you don't understand a particular concept, let me know. That's my job. Don't ask me when something's going to be graded if it hasn't been 3 days. But if it's been a while, like if sometimes what'll happen is I'll open an assignment so that it's marked as red, and then I get up and walk away and close the browser closes or whatever, and then an assignment is marked as red that I've looked at it, but it may not have been graded yet. So sometimes that happens. It's not often, but it happens sometimes. We're going to go in and take a look at a course in just a second. I like to do that last. If you still need help with learning Brightspace, if you're a new student with us, we still have a couple of our Brightspace help sessions available. Thursday the 23rd, this coming Thursday, next Tuesday, and then the Tuesday 2 weeks after that. All at different various times for you to be able to come if you're having trouble with Brightspace. And then down here is the information on how to do that. This kind of information is posted on your main home page before you actually click into the course. Those news announcements are from the school and not from me. Remember, I am here to help you, and I want you to succeed. If you need help with something or just have a question, please don't hesitate to contact me. Let's have a great semester. So I'm going to switch into screen share so that I can kind of give you a little bit of a tour around the course and show you the schedule. Yeah, and it says I need to update my Jigsaw app. Let's see how long this takes. If it takes too long, then we'll forgo that.
Threat has been detected.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, it says it's infected with malware. Don't think so. Okay, that's not working. So let's switch directions. Okay, let's do this. One of the summer schedules that I actually have already uploaded into the course. Keep in mind this is a summer schedule, which means there's a lot more work on each day. Especially on a 16-week schedule, it's a lot more spread out. But the schedules pretty much look the same all the time. So here you have your breakdown of your percentages. The contact information is always at the top of the schedule. EOCT information, and then begins your work. So in American Literature AB, we have assignments that are marked as optional. That's made a little bit more clear on the actual schedule for this course as to what the color coding means. And then on each page, as much as possible, I try to put this little don't forget to turn the page notification. So anytime you see something in bold, that means it's an assignment that you actually have to turn in. If it says complete the self-assessment, like over here, it says complete the self-assessment, that does not mean it needs to be turned in. That is actually not going to be turned in because that's just for you to know what's going on and where you may need to really review before you continue forward. But if it's in bold, like here, participate in a Native American ethnography discussion, that's something that actually needs to be submitted, whether it be in the discussion board, the Dropbox, or it's a quiz or a test. Okay, so anything that's listed in red is going to be an optional assignment. It means you do not need to complete it, but if you do, it'll help spread your grade out a little bit. So if you complete it, that means that your grade, for example, if there's 9 items in a particular section of your grade and you complete it and you do 10, and there's now 10 items, then that makes it a little easier to recover from one bad grade, if that makes sense. Some students just do it because they're very dedicated students and they want to do, have as many pieces in there as possible. So again, this is a summer schedule, so there's some things that are removed that won't be removed on your schedule. Any day that work is not scheduled is grayed out or greened out. I think Labor Day may be a day that work isn't scheduled. Don't take me for serious on that one. Final exam day, all of the work must be turned in before that final exam, with a few exceptions. And then after that, we get into our refund policy, our withdrawal policy, late work policy, all of that. So again, this is an old summer schedule, so it looks similar, but there may be some changes in regards to what documents are actually, what policies are actually being followed. Okay, so that pretty much covers it. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know. Contact me as soon as possible. I'd be happy to help. It's my job. So be sure to text me if you have any issues, email me. If it's after hours, you can call me. Just please, especially with text messages, please be aware of the time. Like I said, I had 3 small children. We try to get them in bed by 8:30, 9 o'clock. So it's really uncool to be getting notifications on my phone coming in, after like 8:30, 8 o'clock. So keep an eye on those notifications, keep an eye on those things. I won't, if you call me after 8 o'clock, it's unlikely that I will answer unless I know it's a major emergency. So just try to text me first, and then if we need to talk on the phone, we can talk on the phone. If we need to come into this classroom and I need to show you something, step by step, absolutely, I'll do it. That's what it's here for. So, all right, you all let me know if you have any questions over the course of the semester. And welcome to American Literature. This is one of my favorite courses. There's some really cool stuff you'll be reading.